Or all of that. Damn. That's the type of shit I want to record.
So, is this Facebook Live?
No, it's YouTube on live.
YouTube on live, right on.
But I'm going to post.
Well, we're just talking about a lot of different stuff, guys. A lot of good stuff. We're talking about
the universe.
The universe and how...
about how the universe works.
We're talking about objective
and I think
truth.
Reese has figured it out.
Well, yeah, yeah.
No, I'm being sarcastic, but I'm also complimentary.
Well, you know what? I understand what you're saying by saying that, right? Because for people to think that the universe can be understood is almost like saying, like, what do you think you're God? Right? Right?
Yeah, that's right.
And then it's just like, my response would be, no, I'm just one of his creations.
Yeah, I'm just a sliver of consciousness.
I'm just one of his creations. It's because God is the creator. God is the creator. There, and we all create and we all destroy. And we all build up and then tear down. And it's a constant cycle of building, growing, rising, and falling. And the way the waves, we are a wave in the ocean, but we are the ocean itself in the wave. We're everything that we're
the ocean, the wave, and the river into the ocean.
Yeah, yeah.
The whole fucking blue.
Yeah, it's
horizon.
We don't realize it because we're trapped in body-mind, right?
Yeah.
We're trapped in body-mind. We're trapped in this essence that we are. My name is Reese Clark, and I am born July 15, 1991, and my social security number is this, and my bank number is this, and my phone number is this, and these are all things that identify me for who I am, and this is what I am. And that's just a dot.
Doctor. I am
a doctor. I am a lawyer. I am an accountant. These are things that define me and label me, and that's what I am. But it's just making the point thinner and thinner and thinner till you're your own point. But there are infinite points, and all those points are interconnected. All those points are interconnected through a consciousness. We are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. And there is objective truth, just like there's the North Star. Follow the North Star if you want to go north. It's tried and true. The North Pole. The poles apparently change. There was a lake in Africa. There is a lake in Africa. That's the deepest lake in the world. Scientists think that the poles, since they do move very slowly, and sometimes they go like this and wobble out of control and then flip around, the magnetic poles, that the North Pole used to be in Africa, where that lake is, and it used to be a huge glacier. And the poles flipped, and now the North Pole is where it is, and the South Pole is where it is.
Yeah.
It's magnetics, right?
Yeah,
magnetics.
Yeah.
You're not going to find a positive magnet and a positive magnet pulling each other together.
Yeah, it's just a law of physics.
It's just a law. You can feel it in the magnets. You can feel the force.
You can feel the force.
They're not going to attract.
That's a law.
They're going to repel. You are going to push those magnets close together, and your hands are going to start shaking because you can't push them together because they're so strong. The force is so strong.
And I bet you they got a thing nowadays that picks up the magnetism and you can see it. I bet you. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, you can.
With one of those electron.
Yeah,
spectrum
you can synthesize that force into a numeral value.
Okay.
And then what you can do is you can draw up equations.
Okay.
You can draw up mathematical equations for certain magnets and for certain repellents and for certain things where this piece is where the puzzle, this piece is where it fits in the puzzle. You know what I mean? And you can create certain things. You can see, I studied architecture in college. Right? I understand the different points of how things are built. Right? There's the most ancient builders are the Masons.
Okay.
Stonemasons.
Like you're thinking
they
go
built
back to the Egyptians.
they built churches.
Do they go back to the Egyptians?
Yes.
You think they go back that far past
further than the Egyptians?
So you think they go past further than the Egyptians?
Yes.
Like you think it's
Yes.
Mesopotamia? They go back to maybe like that far back, or even before.
Okay.
I know it's not your point.
But the thing about Mesopotamia is that was the wheel ever not invented? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I
was
hear
the
that.
wheel ever not invented? The wheel just always has been around.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's a wheel. You just walk in a circle and you got a circle. Right? It's a wheel. It's not that difficult to comprehend. It's probably always been around. You don't go back to where they're just like, I don't know how to draw a circle. It's a one cell. We're a circle at our axiom of life. We're a dot and a circle at our axiom of life. We're one cell that turns into however many and 64 cells, and then it just keeps on doubling. 32, then 64, then, and it just keeps doubling. And you know, we've always been a circle. It's always been that way. There hasn't ever been a time when it's just like, I don't exist. You see what I mean? Our consciousness has always been around. Our bodies haven't, but our consciousness has. And we can tap into different consciousness through nature. Trees. There are spirits in trees. There are spirits in flowers, bushes. You know, an urban environment is awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love the urban environment. It's fun. But
it's only, Disneyland.
But yeah, only for a little while.
Yeah, because it's Disneyland. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, okay, whatever. You
only
have
for,
your take.
only for a little while.
I'm just speaking I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Only for a little. Like, do you want to live in Disneyland?
Yeah, yeah.
Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
Happy New Year every night.
You cannot live in an urban environment your whole life and not become sick.
Yeah, sure.
Just like you can't live in a rural environment your whole life and not become sick.
You think so? I may disagree. I may disagree with you because hold on. Let me just I'll hear you out.
Generations of farmers, Gerald. Generations of farmers that got sick.
Sick like what sick though? Like sick like in the urban environment?
From the rural environment.
How did they? What kind of sickness? Like the flu?
It's the other extreme. It's the work that is.
Farmers actually got sick.
It's the work that was demanded by farmers for generations and generations.
Okay.
That created a poison.
Okay.
It
like
created,
serfs. You're talking about farmers that were serfs, though, right?
I'm talking about not switching the track you're on at certain times. There's I'll never change my stripes.
Mhm.
Okay? I've always known who I am and what I represent
Okay.
and what teams I'm on,
Okay.
right? And who I'm loyal to. Like, I'll never forget where I came from, right? That's where I came from. But you have to be like, I have to switch this. I can't shop at Thrifties anymore because I've been eating from Thrifties for the past year. So why don't I go to a local farmer's market now instead and eat there? Or I've been invested in Coca-Cola for the past 200 years.
Mhm.
So why don't I say, okay, well, now I want to invest in new companies with some holdings from Coca-Cola. Right? Like, there's change that happens. There's a cyclical change. There's the new and the old. And the old will always be around. The new will always be coming. The sun will always set and the sun will always rise. There will always be the new and there will always be the old. But you cannot, the rural environment created a poison for generations of farmers, man.
Mhm. Okay. All right. I did not know that.
That's why I don't like being out in nature for too long.
Okay.
Because it can start turning on you.
Okay.
You know, I know, for example, you do
So it's
know-
a little bit of the urban and a little bit of the country.
Yes.
Okay, I
yes,
can feel you there.
Yes, like experience some of the urban, and then
or blend
experience
it a little bit.
and then experience some of the rural.
All right.
Just to stick, but I'm not talking about like every other week.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like different times of the year,
Yeah.
or every other year.
Yeah.
You know, like
Time.
for the winter and spring, spend it in a rural environment. For the summer and fall, spend it in an urban environment.
Yeah, or whatever works for you.
Yeah, right?
That's
Or
just
whatever.
An
That's an
just
example.
That's an example.
That's just an example.
A period of time for adjustment.
Right.
I'm thinking is what you're thinking here.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like, let
you need
yourself
to.
adjust.
It needs to fluctuate. It needs to fluctuate. I'm telling you, the fluctuation is the most important thing. The fluctuation is
it's kind of like what you're talking about is like when people go on vacation, they may go to the country or they may go to the city. They may go to the country or the urban area or the country. The mountain skiing would be the country.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's a little urban nowadays. Skiing is a little urban.
Yeah,
and
but
country.
vacation is vacation.
Yeah, no, I know. But it's just I'm talking about you're switching your environment. Like we do that. So
Yeah,
it's a
like-
valid point. I'm thinking
if
it's
you
valid.
live in
That
Vancouver,
would validate your point.
spend half your time in parks and by trees. Like, I was going to Stanley Park a lot when I was living on Barkley in Denman.
Okay. What year was that?
2016.
Okay.
I was going to parks all over the place, and I was like, you know, like,
That's
you don't get,
Yeah.
you gotta go, you gotta get on your feet. You know what I mean? You gotta get on your feet and walk your ass to wherever you want to go. You know, I was in Vancouver, downtown Vancouver, fucking a dangerous urban environment, right? Where the high energy is zzz, everything's going zzz, everything's buzzing, People are flying past you. People are doing drugs on the streets. There's homeless people on the streets asking for money. There's drunk women with their husbands, girlfriends, and boyfriends walking by you. All different types of that is an essence of chaos, where it's chaotic, a chaotic urban environment, right? And then you go out to the country, you go out to rural, and it's just like,
That's the sound the universe made when it was created, according to Buddhist legend.
Yeah. It's just like there's space and there's just like open area, and it's just like, wow, there's grass and flowers and trees and animals and birds, right? And you get a certain amount of natural essence. It's so important. It's so crucial. I'm telling you, it's one of the most important things is to understand this, is that you can never be all in on one location. You have to, because you will feel the poison. You will feel the poison. You cannot, that's why I don't shop at one grocery store. I shop at all different grocery stores. That's why I don't drink just cow milk. I don't drink just cow milk, right? I drink all sorts of a variety of drinks and water and coffee and orange juice and soda and sparkling water and tea and liquor and alcohol, all at different times, spread out amongst each other, and just sips at a time. Just sips at a time, just not even overdoing it on any one. That's what I found to work for me. When I was younger and I was testing all these things, I was like, okay, well, I want to get drunk, so let's drink 15 Budweiser. And I would overdrink and I would get sick, right? Everyone gets sick when they drink just one thing and a lot of it, right? But you start to learn that it's just like a little bit easy does it, right? It's just a little bit here and there of different stuff, and it's a variety. You just mix it all up. Like, that helps. That really helps a lot. It keeps you balanced. It doesn't keep you off kilter in one direction for something. It's for whatever end result you're hoping, which is just a highway to hell to begin with. It's an absolute highway to hell to, be on the quick road like that with something, right? You got to take things easy. So what we were talking, I think we pretty much explained everything, man.
You did, yeah. That covered a lot of ground.
I'm pretty much, I'm all explained out. We had a huge conversation before we turned the camera on, and that was like,
Reese Clark, ladies and gentlemen.
Garo Juvena over here. And we also want people to be happy with themselves and to not feel shame or any type of non-clarity with themselves. I find that for the younger generation, they're going to find out who they are by going out and looking for their purpose. But remember, freedom doesn't have a purpose. And value comes from the person, place, or thing, or action has value. That's what purpose comes from. And purpose is freedom when you align with who you are and what your purpose is and why you live in this world and why you do what you do and why and who you are. When you find out who you are, when you're like, I know thyself. Now I know thyself even more because I experienced this, right? Then you start to say, wow, you know, my purpose is freedom. You know, I am free. I am free to express myself. I am free to say what I feel and how and what my opinion is, and free to have certain inalienable rights that are going to allow me to live the way I want to live. Everyone has rights God-given at birth. When you know these rights, you can exercise them even more. People aren't taught these rights. You have to search, you have to look them up, you have to research them, you have to study them. You know, Sun Tzu's Art of War is like an understanding from millennia and millennia of war. The patterns and the cycles of what war is and what competition is. You know, there's competition, but there's also cooperation. And the two don't exist without each other. And you have to be really diligent on balancing the two. Because if you're too competitive or you're too cooperative and you don't have a healthy balance of competition and cooperation, then you're going to tip over and implode. You need to always be checking up on, what do I want to compete? What do I want to cooperate with? You know, what do I agree on? What do I disagree on? You have to constantly be asking yourself these questions. You know, what are my stance? Who am I truly? Am I just pretending to be somebody I'm not? Or am I coming to terms with my own soul? Am I looking at my own soul and coming to terms with my own soul? That's what it's virtually unknown in this world today. People facing their own soul.
I think it's genius, personally. And I do, man. I think you're onto it. I think he's onto it. Guys. I'm speaking his language anyways.
Thank you, Gerald. I appreciate that. I don't
think you're a crazy person anyways. You know?
Well, I've never been crazy. I've just been reactive to certain situations and to certain events
I just want to
that take place.
I just hold on. I want to just cut you off for a second because I'll put that statement into context. Like sometimes when I speak that kind of, when I talk on that topic, you know, like from certain people, maybe they're family members, maybe they go, oh yeah, okay.
Oh, you know? the crazy word. You know, the crazy word is.
Sure,
I mean,
girl,
what
sure,
what other words are there for crazy? Kook.
Yeah, kook.
But
see, I only say that because, like, the establishment kind of labels people with that
mentality, of course, and
like they're on the outskirts.
But dude, you know, the everything in the past, Gerald, is gone.
Yeah.
Everything in the past is gone. You are not going to get back the experiences you had in the past. You are going to make new ones. It's not the same old thing over and over again.
But it's not linear either. That's the thing. It isn't. There's no such thing as time. So theoretically, like
there is no such thing as time.
If God wanted to send you back in time, you could redo the whole thing.
But that's not how God. That's not how God works.
Well, I know that's not how God works, but my opinion is God could do that if he wanted to. I think God could do that if he wanted to. Like, you could if God said, you know, Reese, or if he said, oh, Gerald, you know, you were close, like a whole bunch of times, man, you were close, and you were a good guy, and Gerald or Reese or whoever, and you tried to get to me, but you didn't make it. So I'm going to let you redo your entire life. We're just going to send you back again. Same body, same parents.
Because you are God. But Gerald, you are God. That's what you have to understand. There is no...
Well, I got the Buddhist understanding of it.
But there's no other higher figure that's going to determine your fate other than you to a certain extent. However much you want to risk, however much you want to reward.
But I think that when I say the higher power, I mean God, right?
Yeah.
But God, I think God's consciousness, right?
Well, no. There's
and consciousness can do that if it wants.
Do you know what I think of God as like? I think of God as like these thresholds of energy that are like lines in the universe that just go like this and just zing and just like a laser beam in the universe, and there's infinite laser beams and they all hold an energy. They all hold an energy, and that energy, when crossed, certain consequences are in place.
So you think there's like laws? There's laws in place that don't let you redo something.
There's laws in place in the universe that have existed forever, that will exist forever until the end of this universe, if there ever is an end.
Yeah.
And they've existed since the beginning of this universe, if there ever was a beginning.
Okay.
They just always have existed. These are laws and fundamental natural laws that exist. And the main one is that the love you take is equal to the love you make.
Okay.
What
Sure.
you give, you get.
Karmic law.
That is the fundamental natural law. There is no getting around that law. However you want to define, you get what you give, by all means. Define it how you want.
Call it what you want.
Call it what you want. I don't care what you call it, but the way I communicate the fundamental natural law in this universe is that you get what you give. That is the fundamental natural law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. It's physics. Okay? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. There are fundamental natural laws that exist. And people need to learn these laws either before or after they've broken them. Doesn't matter whether if you can teach someone how to fish, they'll have fish for a lifetime. If you give someone a fish, they'll eat for a day. So once people are taught these natural laws and how the universe works, then we will have a much more harmonious world, a world that's on a path to greatness and love and prosperity and abundance and gratitude and happiness and health. But people don't know because they don't care. But the natural laws also don't care whether they care or not. They're still in place. The truth doesn't care whether you believe in it or not. It's still the truth.
So, I have a question. Okay, so what do you think about back to the what you give is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give an example, a story.
Okay.
An example story. You're at a Catholic school, a Roman Catholic school.
Okay.
There's the Roman Catholic brothers, like the nuns and the sisters. There's the brothers and the priests.
Okay.
A doctor walks in and gives a speech to the grade 8s to the grade 12s and explains things about God to the Roman Catholics. He isn't Roman Catholic, doesn't explain it in Roman Catholic terms, but he believes in God and explains God to the students and says, there's no such thing as the devil, you're forgiven for everything, and God is love. The kids all hear that. They all understand it. They're happy. No such thing as the devil. I'm forgiven for everything I've ever done. And
God is love.
And God is love. And loves you unimaginably.
Okay.
Holy smokes.
Okay. So you're telling me...
No, it's not over yet. That's the beginning of the story.
Are you telling me in a synthesis he's saying there are no consequences?
He didn't say that.
Okay, because he should have clarified.
Well, he said he said other things, but I don't think he said consequences.
Okay, because there are consequences.
Okay, but hold on, let me finish the story. You go out, the guy finishes, it's like a 5-minute spiel. 10-minute spiel. All the students exit the gymnasium, which was the auditorium.
Okay.
And they're 14 or so and go out. And they circle this one, a few of them circle this one kid.
Mm-hmm.
And they're bullying him.
Okay.
They're putting him down. They're going, they're insulting him, calling him names, name calling, you're stupid, he's so retarded, he's as dumb as the Lawnmower Man, like out of that Stephen King book. You know, those types of insults. And they explain what the man said. They said, see, we're forgiven. We've forgiven. We're insulting you. We're hurting you. Look, he's going to cry. But we're forgiven. God loves us, and there's no such thing as the devil.
Mm-hmm.
So the bullies abuse this one kid, right?
Okay.
What's karmic law, or what, I don't know what you called it.
Okay, what did the abused kid learn from being bullied?
Well, okay, so the abused kid, while going on with the abuse, instincts are going off. Instincts are going off. Fight back. Fight back. You're not going to punch him. You're just going to cuss him out and tell him to fuck off. His instincts are telling him to do that.
But punching would have been fine as well.
Well, hold on. Well, they weren't violent because they weren't attacking him. Right?
Well, they were being verbally violent.
They were being verbally violent.
And he could have crossed the line himself and punched one of them in the face.
Okay, but he didn't do that. He just the scenario for the victim of the bullies was the instincts are saying fight back, and the instinct was just don't bottle up your emotions. They're pissing you off, upsetting you, and cuss them out back. Tell that fat fuck he's a fat fuck. Tell that scrawny little shit I'll kick the shit out of you if you keep it up. Just like verbally get him back.
Right.
So he didn't do that.
Yeah, he
took it.
He took it, and then you know what?
And the bully kids are rubbing it in his face. God forgives us for everything. To the victim, God forgives us as they're torturing him mentally, verbally.
Okay.
You know? So that's the story.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what you wanted to tell me?
That's an example. I want to give you an example and how what you give and what you get. What do you think happens in that scenario?
I'll give you a
to
perfect
everybody,
example.
the victim and the bully.
I'll give you a perfect example. Okay.
Because this is an example. How
Okay,
does
this is
play
an
out?
example. You see this pen?
Okay.
See this pen?
Yeah.
See how I'm holding this pen up?
Okay.
See how for a second it was out of my reach?
Yeah.
And it was by itself?
Get it on camera, Reese. Yeah, it's on camera. Okay.
See how this pen is out of my reach for a second? And it's by itself? I want to use this pen as an example of the fact that this pen is out of my... Now it just dropped. The kids that were bullying that one kid is the kid. The kids that were bullying that one kid is the kid that is getting bullied, and they will experience what he experienced exactly. That is what natural law is. You are not exempt from feeling the pain of others. You are not exempt from experiencing the pain of your enemy. Everything is interconnected. If you bully someone, you're bullying yourself.
So, okay. And then what happens to the victim? What did he learn, or what happens?
The victim has many choices. He can take the event and have a perspective of victimhood his whole life, or right off the bat, he can say, I'm better than those guys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and I'm going to... Okay.
And what just happened does not define me in any way whatsoever. It defines them. And I'm not going to use anything that just happened in any way in my life. And all those kids can learn the lesson of what it means to be in someone else's shoes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, just because this is an example, so just we got clear that the kids were saying God loves us, right? So they're thinking they're getting away with this, right? Because God loves us no matter what. That's what the guy said. No matter what, we can torture him. God loves us. And that's true. I think that's true. That God will always love Mahoney. No matter what. Would you agree with that? With what the man said, the doctor?
Of course. Well, it's...
Do you agree with that part of it? That God totally omnipotently, like, oh my God, loves the bully. I do. I believe that. But I think there is a consequence, like you're saying, or
There is a consequence.
Yeah,
There's a consequence to every thought, action, emotion, word. There's a consequence to everything.
So what?
There's a consequence to everything, Gerald. And people have to recognize the consequences in everything in order to live a life that they want to live. I'm living the life. I just want to let everybody know. I've been living the life I want to live basically my whole life. I've had so many people, my parents, my family, friends of mine, tell me you need to follow these rules now because you got so good at the last game and you beat everybody at the last game. You got to play a different game now. You know how many different games I've played in my life? I got so good at soccer with my best friend, Christian Harnish, in 1998 to 2005. We were so good at soccer and we were so good at baseball because we practiced nonstop that we decided to play a sport in high school that nobody played as little kids or studied or were a natural at. Lacrosse. Our team sucked. We were terrible. We didn't win a game. But you know what? We had heart. We had heart. We wanted to play the game. And we were way more physical, roughing up the other players, pushing the other players, tackling the other players, hitting the other players with our sticks. You know, we didn't know how to pass and throw the ball and catch the ball and shoot. Not many of us knew how to do that. We had to pick that up once we had already conquered so many other sports and other games. I mean, I'm talking about like, every Christmas as a young kid and around the year playing Stratego and chess with my dad, and trying to beat him eventually. And I remember the first time I beat him. And I was just a young kid. But like, it takes a lot of failure. First, failure is the price of entry. We aren't born walking. We have to fail a bunch of times at trying to walk in order to finally get on our two legs and start walking.
That expression, baby steps.
Exactly. It takes a lot of time to get good at stuff. Every professional in the world at what they do, whether you're a professional litigator, or you're a professional counselor, or you're a professional writer, or you're a professional musician, or you're a professional coach, trainer, teacher. The professionals in the world have done their craft for over 10,000 hours. So let's think about that. 10,000 hours. There's 24 hours in a day. We sleep about 8.
Well, okay.
That leaves about 16 hours a day that we're basically on autopilot the whole time anyway. A lot of people are on autopilot. They don't think about what they do every single day and what they do. We're on autopilot. But let's say for the people who aren't on autopilot and haven't got a schedule down, even though schedules are really important, and they still have 1 hour where they're cooking every day. Let's say you cook 1 hour a day for a year. That's 365 hours of cooking in 1 year. That means after 10 years, you have 3,650 hours of cooking. Okay, after 20 years, you have just over 7,000 hours. After 20 years of cooking, you don't even have 10,000 hours yet. You have to get to something like 26 years to get 10,000 hours of cooking if you only cook once a day, every day, for 26, 27 years. So that means by the time, let's say I'm 18 years old and I know I want to be a chef. You're not going to be a professional chef if you just cook 1 hour every day. You got to cook 8 hours, 12 hours, 17 hours a day. Some chefs are cooking 17 hours a day for 5 days a week. And they're getting their 10,000 hours a lot sooner than other people. You want to just go for 1 hour a day? Go for it. But you're going to be 47 years old or 45 years old if you're 18 now and you cook and you want to be a chef, a professional chef. You're not going to be a professional till you're about 45 years old.
And I think that's perfectly fine if that's what you want to do.
That is perfectly fine.
I think that's okay.
So take care of your body if that's what you want to do. Don't do drugs. Don't drink a lot of alcohol. Exercise. Brush your teeth. Take care of your health and your body. Take care of because you want to live long. You don't want to burn out.
I'm 47 in 7 years.
You want to live to 100. Take care of your body because your body is going to wither away. I've lived in the fast lane for a long time. And I've still do a pretty decent job at taking care of my body because I listened to my body. I listened to what my heart, my gut, and my brain are telling me. So I'm like, okay, this is what my body needs now. This is how I can maintain my stature and my figure and my energy and my focus. Right? It's all about listening to your body. But if you know you want to be a chef, you can be a professional. You can have a long-term aspiration. You can have a long-term goal of becoming a professional chef. You know, I wanted to get good at music right away. I mean, I started on piano when I was 6 years old. I got drum lessons on my 8th birthday. I would come home every day. Before I got drum lessons when I was around 6, 7 years old, right? Around 7 years old, once I started learning the percussive nature of the piano and playing Stairway to Heaven on my dad's lap on the piano at 6, 7 years old, I was playing drums on the car dashboard. I would sit in the seat and play drums on the back of the car. I would just play drums all the time. So I got drum lessons on my 8th birthday, and I took lessons for a decade. Every Thursday, I would play for an hour with my instructor. And I played every day for the majority of that decade. I put my heart and soul into rhythm and percussion and drums. And I picked up the guitar when I was about 12 years old, and I kind of spliced my learning because I was learning about guitar, but at the same and bass, and at the same time I was learning about drums, and I was focusing so much. I was trying out for all state bands and trying out for jazz bands and everything like that. Yeah, I put a lot of hours into that craft. That's what I wanted to do as a career. And I got to work in that field in the corporate office in 2012. I worked for Universal Music Group. And then the latter part of that summer, I started work in Bellingham, Washington, working with artists at a local venue called the Green Frog, where I was working in sound engineering, and I was working with other artists that were writing original music and writing albums. And I was playing my own shows as well. And that's what I wanted to do. I loved the corporate stuff. I was on the top floor of UMG. I love the corporate stuff. It's great. You wear the business suit, you go into the office, you talk to record executives, you track spins. You know, you do all this stuff, and I absolutely loved it. But at the same time, like what I was saying earlier in this video, was you can't stay in an urban environment for too long, or otherwise you get sick. So I had to fly out to Bellingham, which is a more rural environment. It's about 60,000 people in that city. But there's, you know, New York City, where I was with UMG, is a concrete jungle. So I like to switch it up. You know, I don't like working. I like to switch it up. Yo, joint coming up.
I'll be back.
But really, guys, hear me out on this 10,000 hour thing. The Beatles are the Beatles precisely because they played more hours than any other band has ever played together before they were the Beatles. They played in Germany like Monday to Saturday, 6 days out of the week, for like 14 hours a day, for like 2-3 years. So that's like 6 days out of the week. That's that would be 64 hours a week, 14 hours a day for 6 days is 64 hours a week. For a year would be 64 times 52, which is would be just over 3,000 hours. It would be just over 3,000 hours. So they did that for like 3 years. So even before they were the Beatles, they had 10,000 hours of time playing together. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they are the Beatles. And I would say everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. I don't care how much time travel technology you have. Everybody's got the same 24 hours in a day. I don't care how much time travel technology you have. It doesn't matter. We want time travel. When do we want it? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everybody's got the same 24 hours in a day. It's what you want to do with it. It's what effort you want to put into it. What path do you want to follow? What do you want to become an expert at? What do you want? What purpose do you want? Do you want freedom? Do you want happiness? Because the root cause of anything, it's like, let's say I'm talking to Dustin, right? Dustin's this guy who's 19 years old, and I met him on Salt Spring Island, and he started a fight with me because I told him that I don't care whether his girlfriend is comfortable or uncomfortable. He threw a punch at my face. And he's 19 years old. He's young. He thinks he can take on the world, just like I did when I was 19 years old. I thought I could take on the world. But we start to understand that it takes time. It takes time. We're so young and full of so much bravado. At 18 and 19 years old, we think we can take on the world. We can kick anybody's ass. We can do anything we want. We're invincible. I thought that. And thank God I didn't die. Because I made a lot of stupid and reckless decisions. a lot of dumb, idiotic decisions. Like, my angels were looking out for me in a lot of situations that could have went sour. You know, the root cause and why I brought Dustin up was because if I asked Dustin, hey Dustin, what do you want to do with your life, man? He says, oh man, I want to make, I want to have a farm, and I want to make a lot of money, and I want to have a family, and I want to do, well, why? Why do you want to do all that? Tell me why you want to do all that. Well, because, I feel that, and you go on and you say, okay, but why? Why do you feel that that's what you want to do and that's going to make you succeed and give you what you want? Well, because, and then you ask again, why? Why? And keep asking why? And the root cause is happiness. It's because that's going to make me happy. People are waiting and waiting and waiting to give themselves permission to be happy once they get that $20, or once they get that whatever it is that gives them permission to be happy now, ice cream, whatever it is that makes you happy. Be happy now. Be grateful now. Look at what you got. Don't wait to be happy. Be happy now. Feel your heart. Feel the emotions. Feel all the love inside you. Be happy now. Don't wait for something or other people to give you permission to be happy. You don't need permission to be happy anytime. You can be happy whenever you want. And it's not
you want, and you can learn anything you want. That's the scientific fact. If you can read and write, you can teach yourself anything. That's a scientific fact. If you learn how to read and you learn how to write, you can teach yourself anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's a scientific fact. It's just there's a catch. You have to learn how to read and write, and then you have to be able to read and write.
Well, my name, Clark, comes from clerk and clergy, those that knew how to read and write before others. That's what my last name comes from. That's my father's side of the family. Clark, clerk, clergy. It's those that could read and write before others. And just to what I was just saying, if you're not happy now, make a change. Just make a change. Change.
Like, what do you mean by make a change? An external change or an internal change?
Both. Because both
like a change
have
in thoughts?
Both have effects.
Outside,
No. Change. Make a change. It's that simple. Make a change with something. Try a different drink. Try a different food. Try a different entertainment value. Try a different approach. Try something different. Make a change if you aren't happy now. Just make a change. Things don't get better by chance. They get better by change. If you're not happy now, make a change.
I think that would, the way that you're describing it, I'm thinking of that as like one way or the other. It could be an external change in your life, and that may last a while. But personally, I think if you make an external change, like he's saying make a change. So if it's an external change, like I go to this bar, so I'll go to this bar. Or I eat too much, so I'll eat less. Like I need to lose, whatever the change would be, health or pleasure-oriented, whatever. If it's an external, that may keep you alive for a while, keep you happy for a while, but I think that would run out of steam. That's my opinion. If it's a thought change, like an attitude shift, I think an internal change would have the, like an attitude shift change would have like lasting effects. So that's in your mind. The attitude shift, that's psychological, mental, whatever you want to call it, spiritual, if you want to go there into that aspect of existence. Personally, I think it would be an internal change, which would be I describe by instruction from my spiritual master as an attitude shift. The way I make the change is yoga. That's how I make my change. And like Reese was saying, that takes time. You have to do yoga and more yoga. And you love yoga. And yoga is good. And you love it. And so that was my change. And eventually I'll get to an attitude shift. Essentially. But there's other, my example. Yoga.
Yeah, Gerald has a great point there. Yoga is incredible. I've done all sorts of different types of yoga. I've done Bikram yoga, which is hot yoga. You're in a room that's over like 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're just sweating. You got a bunch of water, and you're just sweating out all your toxins, and you're doing yoga. I've done sun salutations.
That's $1 million that you got.
I've done all sorts of different types of yoga, and I love yoga. Yoga is incredible. Yoga is absolutely incredible. It helps with so much.
Put a play on. We're going to do anything on this channel. Righty, champ.
Yoga is great, but also a man needs what we're doing right now. A man needs what we're doing right now, which is, being in the garage, smoking cigarettes on air, on radio, just like talking about the universe and things. Drinking coffee and Pepsi and soda, and like that's what a man needs. A man needs his
that's like a metaphor, right?
A man needs his tool shed. Okay, a man needs his tool shed.
Or a woman needs it too, right?
A woman needs her. A woman needs her. Bag.
Well, but it's kind of both a metaphor, right? You're just saying that as an example.
Right. That's just define it however you want. What I'm basically trying to say is, what I'm essentially saying is that a woman needs something of her own and a man needs something of his own. Right? You can't like the yogic idea of the connection between tantric and Kama Sutra yoga is that you join female and male as one. And it is one. But, like, there are no girls around right now. You know what I mean? It's just boys' time. It's Gerald and me. And we're just having a time. We're just having a time. We're not with the girls right now. And the girls, when the girls talk on their own, we can't understand what they're saying to each other. You ladies have your own language.
And you speak a different language to each other.
You speak a different language to women than you do to us.
But maybe men do that too.
Well, men do that too, man. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that book a lot lately. And I think that was brilliant. I read part of that book, actually. Different psychology. But interestingly enough, my feminist girlfriend back in 97 said there's no such thing as male or female psychology. But I disagreed with her on that. And
the law of gender states that sex is of the animal kingdom. Okay? The law of gender states that sex is of the animal kingdom. And the law of gender states in creationism that it takes a male and a female counterpart to create. That is the law of gender.
Well, okay, but what's the law of gender?
I just said. The law of gender is that sex is of the animal kingdom, that male and female counterparts are necessary for creation.
But how... Okay, that's what you think of. Okay.
There needs to be a duality. There needs to be... The oneness factor means that there is a duality. The oneness factor means that there is a trinity. The oneness factor means that there is a square. The oneness factor means that there is a pentagram. And it goes on, and an octagon.
Okay.
And it goes on and on and on.
Okay.
It's infinite. It's one and infinite at the same time. You know, it's brought to you by Starbucks, Ford Motor Company.
Let's put them all out of business, Reese.
Yeah, we're going to put all these companies out of business.
But
Westland
it's easy.
Insurance,
You just short them, right?
TD, Roots. Just short all these guys. 5% of 190,000 is just over 9,000. 190,705.
Short them.
5.
It's totally realistic.
I'll short all of them.
Yeah,
I'll get shorts with all of these companies, Yves Saint Laurent, the Dogs. Do you know what the Dogs is?
No.
The Dogs is on the New York Stock Exchange of the worst performing companies. A collection of the worst performing companies. It's very important to understand those ones, man.
Okay.
BIC, S&P 500, Scotiabank, United Fruit, Budweiser, Disney, Philips, McDonald's, AT&T. Now, it's not just 5% down, okay? I want to make that very clear. It's 5 with 7 digits after the decimal. 2436816. It's very precise.
So, boy. My instincts say buy Bitcoin. And then I just feel like buying Ethereum and Litecoin for shits and giggles. So that's where I'm putting my money. It came out on psychological testing, stockbroker. It's just, and it makes sense because I've always been interested in, like when I was, I've always been interested in it, even like the nightly business report on PBS. Been watching that since I was a toddler because I wanted to look at the charts. And then from there, it just grew, and I've just always been interested in it. And then years later, when I'm 35, I take psychological testing, the Myers-Briggs, and one of the jobs that came up was stockbroker. Funny how that test worked.
Yeah, Gerald, you would be a good stockbroker. Gerald would be a great stockbroker. He would be my stockbroker.
I am your stockbroker.
He is my stockbroker.
You're fucking right, I am.
He is, yeah, damn right. He's actually one of the best stockbrokers ever. We don't have like. Yeah, okay.
You don't have to give every detail, Reese.
Okay, yeah.
Just
I'm about to tell everybody where we grow our dope.
Yeah. But
no, you'll never know. You'll never know. You'll never know.
Yeah. The other thing that came up, really surprising to me on the same test, the Myers-Briggs, and that's based off of Carl Jung theory. Not developed by him, but developed by Myers and Briggs in the 20s or the 30s, but based off of Jung's theory. It comes from Jung, and I say that so you don't think it came from Freud. It comes from Jung.
Carl Jung.
Yeah, Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, famous Swiss psychologist. Anyways, the other thing that came up, shocking, was general. I like how they give you the top job in the test. Like,
yeah,
that was funny to me.
And you know what? All generals need to know Sun Tzu's Art of War. They need to know that heaven and earth and the seasons And, Sun Tzu's Art of War, right? Like, there are steps and stages that all the generals need to know. We're all generals to a certain extent. But some of us are like 5-star generals. And we got lots of responsibility and men below us that look to, there's a hierarchy, right? Gerald is 40 years old. I'm 27.
40.
And we're 13 years apart. I respect his
12, man. 12 and
12
2 weeks.
12 and 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, 12 and 2.5 weeks.
I like to say 13 though.
Well, but if you look at the Chinese astrology calendar, we're only 12 years apart.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going off that Chinese astrology thing where...
But I like to call number 13 12 and number 12 13. You want to know why? I'll give you the perfect example why, and everybody's going to figure this out right now, and this is an awesome topic to talk about. Why I put the number 12 as 13 and the number 13 is 12. It's because of the metric system, and it's because of the U.S. imperial system. Gallons are not in the rest of the world. It's an imperial system. It comes off of, it was King Henry or one of the kings of England. A foot was about the size of his foot. And that's how they measured in the imperial system. And inches and all this stuff it's an imperial system. So it's the difference between the imperial system and the metric system. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's the difference between the two.
Okay, so I didn't tell you this before. I do have a job. But it's not a job. It's service to my guru. That's imperative. So I haven't been slacking off serving my guru, but now I feel like slacking off serving my guru because I'm worn out. But it's all changing. I'm just slacking off like a couple of days or a week tops, like a week or two tops, and then I'm back to serving them.
You got to take a break from serving. You know what I'm saying? Mother Teresa, there's this great thing about telling a lie, right? Everyone's got a clock in heaven. And every time you tell a lie, that clock goes... And you tell another lie, the clock goes... You tie another lie, the clock goes... And an outright lie, right? We're not talking like gray area or like an outright lie where you knew you were lying. There's some people like Andy, okay, who steals and doesn't know why he steals.
And they call it kleptomaniac.
Right? And there are people who lie and don't know why they lie. It's pathological.
Pathological liar. Okay.
But there are some people that lie and they keep a record and they're like, I just told a lie. I wonder how that's going to play out.
Oh.
And that's what I do. And then your clock always goes like this. Tick, you just told a lie. Tick, you just told a lie. Tick, you just told a lie. And it keeps going. And the joke is that Hillary Clinton's clock is used as a fan. Because she just lies constantly. It's just do used as a fan.
Oh boy, oh boy.
So, I mean, you can lie as much as you want, but at a certain point in time, you're going to have to face your moment of truth. No matter what we face, we must face our moment of truth.
And, yeah, man. God is love. God is love. But personally, I believe in other realms other than the earth realm. Like, I believe earth, and you can look up the word realm in the dictionary to get the exact definition of it, is a realm, a spiritual realm. And there's other spiritual realms, and there's hell realms, and heavenly realms. And you can go to worse hells, and you can go to heavenly realms. And then there's the heaven. Nutshell explanation. So, okay, another thing.
But can you tell the difference between heaven and hell? That's what I want to know. Can you? Can you tell the difference? Can you tell the difference between heaven and hell? Huh? Can you tell the difference between heaven and hell? Look at these chains. You think I carry these around for nothing?
Okay, so
you think you can tell the difference between heaven and hell?
Well, I'll put it in. I'll put the heaven and the hell point of view in backing up the conversation back to the natural law. Like, you give what you get.
Yeah, but just like the Billy Joel song, "Laugh with the sinners and cry with the saints."
You're forgiven.
No, but there's a disconnect. You have to understand the disconnect.
No, hold on. Hear my thing out fully.
Okay.
So you give what you get.
Yeah.
If you give,
you get what you give.
If you give what you get what you get.
Mm-hmm.
If you give out hate and kill people for evil purposes like money and stuff, I don't know factually, but my hunch is you would go, as a consequence of that, you would go to a nasty hell realm, and I don't recommend them. Like, you can go to Thailand, and I'll give I wanted to say that as a metaphor to explain a hell realm.
God has a sense of humor, everybody.
And like they have this,
God has a sense. Thailand, God has a sense of humor. God has a sense of humor.
What happened, like in the Buddhist belief in Thailand, they go, you see, if you're a naughty person, you will have this happen to you. And they show people being tortured and stuff, like in the Middle Ages, like during the Spanish Inquisition, except this is in a museum in Thailand about their spiritual beliefs that many people in Thailand hold. So, personally, I believe that if Hitler is forgiven and welcome to eat at God's table, Adida Samraj, but he's you don't want to go where Hitler went, or like, and that I don't even know if Hitler. I'm just using that as an example. Like, a lot of people think he went to hell. I don't know. I'm not saying he's a good person. Like, it's up to God, right? Like, maybe there's circumstances. Like, maybe I'm not defending Hitler. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I don't know, because I ain't got. But as an example, like the bad person, like in Thailand, they believe you. But if you're a good person, you'll get it better in your next life. And Or maybe go to a heavenly
Who
realm.
knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
Who
You go
knows?
to a better place. You get it better in your next life, or you go to a better place. A heavenly realm.
There's the mysteries.
Like in the Buddhist
there's the mysteries. There's the mysteries of life. But every child is born innocent. Okay? Every child
is born innocent.
Every child is born innocent.
Sure, yeah. 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 And they're, but, yeah. No, I think he's a great criminal defense lawyer. For free. But he's a really bored nerd. We got other things. But, well, you could do it. It's so funny. This is 40. This is bored. Just wanted to be an actor. You can't help but review when you have your high school reunion last year.
Stanislavski's approach. It's all about Stanislavski's approach.
It comes from that. It comes
do you guys know
Meisner studied with
Stanislavski,
the Russian actor that was quite scientific about acting in a way.
The psychological, the sociological, okay, the different parts.
Like here's a
okay.
Yeah.
Shakespeare. I haven't mentioned Shakespeare tonight, but can we just give some credit to Shakespeare for writing romance, tragedy, and comedy? Please? I mean, those three are the Trinity. Okay, those three are the Trinity. Ooh. Those three are the Trinity. Romance, tragedy, and comedy. And we experience all three. We experience all three. Okay, I just want to talk about sex now. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. Okay. Sex is natural. It's one of the most natural things about life. There's all types of sex appeal.
So why do we guilt ourselves over it? Why do we shame ourselves over it, Reese?
Well...
Or some people do, not everybody,
The shame factor comes from fear. It comes from the fear of losing and the fear of abandonment and the fear of loss that
Guilt, I'm so guilty.
Well, the guilt of it comes from not following your heart. You have to follow your heart when it comes to sex, everybody. You can't follow your head. You have to follow your heart. And you have to view sensuality, hugs, kisses, cuddling, and companionship, and intimacy are all just as important. Sex is an experience, and it is about love and lust and desires, and there's no room for acting anything other than like your base desires in the bedroom, your animal instinct. You know, sex is of the animal kingdom. And you connect with the other person. You know, I wanted to make Gerald, I wanted to make a movie. I've made many movies in my life. And I have an idea. I have a script I want to write down for a movie where the setting is a world in which we live in, where when you have sex with someone, you become the other person.
A guy wrote a book like that.
Yeah, like let's say like, you know, the first, like, I lost my virginity when I was 16 years old.
You lucky bastard.
So let's just say, and it was under a tree, and it was beautiful and slow and sensual and romantic, and it was lovely. And imagine I became Alexa. Like, I became her, and she became me. And then, like, you know, she has sex with someone else, and then I become them. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the souls, you know, join. There's like a soul companionship. There's soul groups. Right? Like, when you find your soul group, you understand that you reincarnated here on this earth in a group. And you have soul companions. You have people that you have always known your entire existence of your consciousness and your being and your soul. Every man has female energy surrounding them, and it comes in the form at birth 4 female energies: mother, sister, daughter, wife. 4 main female energies that surround every man. Whether the daughter figure comes to fruition or not, that is up to them to decide whether they want that daughter, whether they want the sister energy around. It's up to them. It's up to the man how much of the female energy he wants to have in his life. The female dragon. And if anybody wants to really learn about sex and understanding how it's a sharing of souls, read the Kama Sutra. Read the Tantric Hindu traditions. You know, it's the Tantric Hindu traditions and the Kama Sutra speak of a weaving of souls that occurs in copulation, in sex, whether it's any form of kissing. You recognize they don't kiss during sex, right? you recognize that there's an offset of Tantric Hinduism where they think that kissing is not the best way to achieve a higher consciousness with that person. So they have sex, but they don't kiss. There's all different forms. It's culture. It's what we eat. It's the music we listen to. That's all brought in with sex too. How sex is this rise and fall and this buildup of tension and release of tension. You know, it's this buildup, and it's a lot of work and hard work and labor, and it's just buildup of tension, and then it's just a release of tension. You know, that's how sex works. That's what sex is. And sex can be the most beautiful thing in the world, or it can be twisted and used as some sort of violent weapon against someone's psyche because they feel threatened by that energy, and they don't sync with that energy. It would make them sick. You know, you gotta watch what you eat and who you eat. You know, like, if you have sex with someone and you regret it, don't have sex with someone, then regret it again. Follow your heart. Wait for the right person. I don't have any regrets in my sex life. I have 0 regrets in my sex life. I've always followed my heart. I've always tried to be as open and honest about my wants and needs and desires sexually with my partners. You know, I have a pretty active sexual aura and sex appeal. Right? I find sex to be very important. You know, one of the most important things. I think one of the psychologists, we were talking about psychologists earlier today, and like Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung. I think it might have been Freud that reference that since everything comes from sex, everything is sex. I mean, this can, for example, look at this can. It looks like a penis. It looks like a phallic symbol.
Yeah, then let's get into it. Can we see anything else in there subliminal?
No, I'm just talking about the shape of the can.
Yeah, sure.
The shape of the can. It's a phallic symbol. You know, that's what the obelisks in Egypt were all about, and the Washington Monument. The Washington Monument is like George Washington's penis.
Yeah, it's totally a fact.
It's a phallic symbol.
That's what they're called. Phallic symbols, people. Just admit it. Just admit it to yourselves.
So sex is very important, and it should never be marginalized or discriminated against or put down or used as a weapon. Should never ever be used as a weapon. It is a beautiful, it's creation. It should not be used as destruction. You know, some cultures think masturbation is, I don't want to say wrong or bad. What I want to say is a sacrifice that culture is not willing to take. You know, and I don't agree with that. I think I think there's nothing wrong with masturbation. It's natural and healthy and releases stress. And it shouldn't be suppressed. Because by suppressing it, you cause a lot of built-up tension. And also, your partners in your soul group aren't always willing to have physical sexual experiences with you. Like when you want to. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I'm just not in the mood to satisfy my partner. And sometimes they're just not in the mood to satisfy me. And that's the way sex works. And it's an up and down. And if you can time it right, then that's awesome. Time it right. Build it up. Build the tension. Release the tension. It's about the yin yang. Don't, when I say time it out, I don't mean like get a schedule going. I don't mean like, okay, we're going to have sex at 2:00 on Tuesdays. Not like that.
Well, there's a natural rhythm to it, like the statistics.
But the rhythm comes natural.
Natural. Problem, if you let it go, like, they say the healthy sex life happens 2 to 3 times a week. That's a statistic on it.
Yeah.
That's a statistic to the rhythm you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. It's about building a rhythm. It's about saying, like, wow, like, you're my partner, and we've been having a sexual relationship for however long, and just be like, I feel like we have some sort of a rhythm. And, like, I hope I'm on point with recognizing when you need to be satisfied. Right? That's the best way of talking to your partner. And when you're willing to have sex, when you're willing to make love. Because a lot of times it just comes in the moment, right? You just start kissing, you're just like, oh, like, it's time. Like, baby, it's time. You know what I'm saying? And your partner just knows, and it's just a beautiful thing. It goes without saying, right?
And yeah. Personally, like, I'm not recommending masturbation, but personally, I don't think you go to a hell realm for it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you, Gerald. I like that piece of input. He just said.
Do you want to oh no, man.
When's the SO open till?
11.
What time is it? It's 11:25.
I'll Google it and just double check. Maybe
it
it's
could be midnight.
Could be midnight, yeah. Maybe.
If you want to Google it and check.
Yeah, I will. It's easy Google. Okay, so
anyway,
we'll be
guys,
back.
We'll be back
After we do a smoke run.
Remember what we said tonight, everybody. We love you all. We absolutely adore all of you. and we want you to live happy, healthy, fun, exciting lives.
World cooperation, people. That's the answer. World cooperation.
Anyway, that's what we think. What do you guys think? Leave
Comments.
Leave your comments. Leave your comments in somewhere where we can see it in due time, and try to have like a construction. Try to have like a criticism sandwich. You know, like say something good and then something bad and then something good. You know, like don't just say like these guys are goofballs. You know, because we got a lot of good content, right? And we don't like trolls like that. We don't like trolls that are like, you know, these guys are goofballs. You know, that doesn't make sense, right? We're not goofballs. We're pretty educated. We have a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge.
I think you just attracted like 1 million trolls to us, but that's a good thing.
Well, anyway, you guys, you guys troll all day. Lots of love, everybody. Ciao.
No, it'd be brilliant with 1 million trolls. Think about it, man. I don't want 1 million trolls, but I think you just invited them in. Arida Samaj loves everybody in the universe, including the trolls.
All right, guys. We love the trolls too, so troll on. Bye now.